What's up guys, Learning with Rich here. In this exercise, we're going to create a grid and modify its properties. And after that, we're going to add dimensions to the grids and we're going to extend them to modify or by modifying their length. So as you can see here on our exercise, we have a imported CAD file. So we will be using this imported CAD file as our guide for us to be able to create our grids. Okay, so let's do this. To create the grids, you can just type GR, or from the architecture tab, look for the datum panel. You can see there your grid. You can also go to your structure tab and then look for the datum, and then you can you can select the grid. Okay, so let's click this one. So I'm gonna select this. And then from the draw panel, you can see here the different options in creating your grids. And for this one, I'm going to use pick lines. Okay, so let's click this one, and to add the first vertical grid line, so I'm going to click grid line A here from the CAD drawing. So I'm going to click this. Okay, just like that. And then as you can see by default, it shows the grid bubble at the bottom here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select modify. I'm going to select the grid that I just created. And then I'm going to uncheck this box here to hide the bubble. And I'm going to click the box here to create a bubble here at the top. Okay, and then let's change this name here to let's letter A. Click that and then just pick outside. Okay, now the next thing that we will be doing is I'm gonna add another grid, and I'm going to create a grid here on this column. So I'm going to draw our vertical grid. Okay, so let's do this. So I'm going to select again the grid tool. So let's click the grid tool, and then I'm going to pick at the midpoint here, this one. So I'm going to pick here, and then I'm going to move up to align to grid A. That's it. And then let's change the name of this. So I'm going to call this A.5, enter, and then select here modify. Okay, and let's do that again here on our B grid. So I'm going to select the grid again, and then I'm going to pick here, and then I'm gonna pick here, make sure it aligns with other grids, and then this one I will call it B, and then enter. Then I'm going to create again using line tool. I'm going to pick here, and that will gonna be my grid C. Okay, and then modify. So this is now our A.5, B, C grids. Now we are going to create our horizontal grids. Okay, so we are just going to duplicate the grids that we have here. So let's select the grid. Okay, again using line tool. So I'm gonna pick here, and then I'm going to pick here. So notice that it follows the grid letter from your vertical grid line, but for this one I'm gonna change this to 1, enter, and let's proceed again on creating our grids. So I'm gonna click here, that's our 2, and then let's create our 3. Okay, so that's it. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to hide. Okay, so let's hide our grids. Okay, so to do that, you have several options to hide your AutoCAD grids or your AutoCAD imported AutoCAD drawing. So it's either you can go to the visibility graphic overrides, and then you can go check the imported categories. So this is the AutoCAD drawing that we imported or that is included to the exercise. Or what you can do here is you can select the AutoCAD drawing, which is this one. So you click that. Okay, and then after that, here on the import instance, you can see there's a query tool. Okay, so there's the query. So let's click that one. So this is what you do if you want to check out the layer name of a imported drawing. So let's say I'm going to click this because this is the imported one, right? So I'm going to click this. The reason why I select this one because it's easier than selecting the other imported grids. Actually, it's easier here as well because I can see it easily here, right? So you can only select your imported CAD drawing if you use the query tool. Again, how to do that? So first, you need to select your AutoCAD drawing, and then after that, you can select query, and then you can now select your AutoCAD object there. So when you click that, you'll be able to see the import instance query, and you'll be able to hide it. So like for example, for that one, so that is layer A grid ident. So you can hide that in view. Okay, because if you're not going to use the query tool, I'm going to select modify. You cannot just simply select that layer, right? Because it will select the whole thing. So if you want to select individually your imported CAD drawing, so you need to use the query tool. So you need to select first the imported CAD, and then import instance, click the query, and then you can now select. So you click that, and then we're going to hide it. So hide in view. So that's it. So it's now hidden. So as you can see, the other circles are now hidden. Okay. So same with the letter. So let us select the letter. Oh, the number here. This one, right? So this is also part of the imported drawing. So I'm going to select this one. So again, that's an A grid text. So I'm going to hide that. There you go. So it's much cleaner. So this is useful so that you are not going to hide completely the whole AutoCAD drawing. So you can just hide each by layer. Again, another option is you can go to the visibility graphic overrides, go to imported categories, and then you expand the imported drawing here, and then just hide the layer. So in our case, it's already hidden because we already did that in our drawing area. But you can also do it here. You can just uncheck as long as you know the name of the layer. Okay? Now I'm going to select here OK to close that. So I'm going to add additional grids and dimension. So let's do this. So I'm going to add dimension first. So from our quick access toolbar, I'm going to use align dimension. So let's click this one, and then I'm going to add my dimension on A, 8.5, B, and C in sequence. Okay, and then I'm just going to click outside to place it. That's it. And then just select here modify. Okay. So that's how you do it. So another thing that you can do here is you can select the dimension, and then you can actually fix the distance. Let's say the distance between A and B, because you see there's a padlock. So if you lock that, so the distance of your B and C will now going to be fixed. Okay? So if you're going to move your grid C, your B will follow. But as you can see, 8.5 to B is now moving. Okay? But your B to C is now fixed because you locked it. So that's the use of lock. So I'm going to escape this to terminate because I don't want to move that. Okay. Now the next thing that I'm gonna do here is let me just adjust this. I'm going to click the grid one, and then as you can see, there's a dotted reference line here, and then again there's also a padlock, so indicating that your grid 1, 2, 3 are locked in alignment. So if you click that small circle, hold your left click, you can drag that like that. So they are, the other grids will going to follow because they are locked. Okay. Now let us add another grid. So I'm going to select the grid tool, and then this time I'm going to use pick lines tool. Okay, this one. And then I'm going to specify here an offset distance. So let's say the distance that I would like is 30,500. Okay. And then after that, I'm going to place my cursor on my grid C. And as you can see, the preview is here, somewhere here. So when I move my cursor, you see there's the preview. If I move my cursor a little on the left side of C, as you can see, the preview will gonna be here. That's the one. But here, I want that to be created on the right side. Okay, so I'm going to place it here, like that. And then after that, I'm going to select here, modify. Okay, now let me change this one as letter G, and then enter. Okay, and then I'm going to select again the grid tool using the line tool. I'm going to make sure the offset here is 0. Okay, so after that, I'm going to draw 3 vertical grids here. So maybe I'll just put it here. 1, 2, 3, and then modify. So C, D, E, F, G. Okay. So I'm gonna click grid 1 and let me just adjust it here. And then let's click this, hide the bubble, enable the bubble at the top. Okay, click. All right, and then let's change the name. So this will gonna be D, E, F. Okay, and let's align this as well, just to tidy up. Okay, and then after that, I'm going to use again the align dimension. So let's click this, C, D, E, F, G, and then let's make sure it's aligned here to this dimension. And then let me click here, and I'm going to select your EQ to equalize the distances from C to G. So you see there's an EQ, you click that, there you go. And then select here, modify. Okay. Right. So the next thing that we will be doing is I'm going to add another grid. So let's say below grid E. So I'm going to activate again the grid tool. Okay. And then I'm going to place it just somewhere here. Then I'm going to align it here and then select here, modify. Okay, so this will gonna be my grid 4. Enter. Okay, so how about I'll just put a distance here. So let me just undo this. Undo. Okay, so let me create again the grid. I'll be using the pick lines tool. And I'll just put a distance here. 5,000 400. Okay, and then I'm going to create here. There you go. And then this will gonna be my 4. Okay, so let's adjust this one. Right, so now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to extend the grids using a scope box. Okay, so how to use the scope box? The scope box can be found here, View tab, Create Panel, and then there's your scope box. So let's click the scope box. And then I'm going to specify the height of my scope box. Take note your scope box is it's a 3D. Okay, so this is the scope box. So it controls the visibility of datum elements such as grids, levels, and reference planes in a specific view. So you create a scope box, apply the scope box to datum elements, and then apply the scope box to desired views. Okay, so we can rename our scope box, and you can also specify the height here. So let's say the height will gonna be let's say 15,240, something like that. So this extends the scope box from the basement level up to 50 feet or 15,250 mm above the basement level. So that's why I selected 15 to 40 or 50 feet. Okay, again, the reason why we do that, the height of our scope box, this will extend the scope box from the basement level up to the 50 feet or 15,240 mm above the basement level. Okay, so just so you know. And then after that, so I'm going to pick somewhere here. So that's the first point, and then I'm going to pick here. Okay, and then I'll select here, modify. Okay, so now I'm going to open the elevation 1-A here, and as you can see, there's our scope box. So as you can see, it extends above our roof level, above the roof level. So just remember, scope box is a 3-dimensional and controls the extents of grids in our plan and elevation view. Okay, now I'm going to select again the basement here. So to begin extending the grid lines to the extents of the scope box, okay, so I'm going to select grid line A, that's the one, and then I'm going to right click and then select all instances visible in view. Okay, so let's select this one. Okay, and then after that, you see here there's an extents, so scope box. So currently it's none, so you click that and then you select the scope box that you have created. So you click this one and then apply, and then as you can see, it now extends. Our grid lines extends on our scope box, so it's now tidier. So you can see they have the same distances. Okay, right? So also take note that instead of using the scope box, you can also stretch the grid lines manually, just like what I'm doing a while ago. So you can just click your grid lines, and then you can just drag this 2D here. You can drag that, and then the other grid lines will follow. So you can do this. Okay, so you can extend your grid lines manually, and let us tidy up our dimension like that. Okay, and then if I go to the first floor, so as you can see, this is now how it looks like. So it also extends to other views. Same with other with our roof and second floor. Okay, so now as you can see, our grids here, they look funny because the bubble is not placed properly. So let's say I want to have the bubble of my grid on the left and right side or the top and bottom of my grid. So to do that, so you can click one of the grid bubble or one of the grid, and then you go to edit type, and then here on the type properties, just tick this one. Okay, so that the two symbols are checked, and then just select OK. And there you go. Right? Let's check out the other view. See, it's now tidy. Okay. So that's it for this exercise. So hopefully you learned something from this video. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.